This is a theory of the sitcom Fuller House. Ever wonder what happened to Michelle Tanner? On a side note, I am a huge fan of Fuller House. I grew up on Full House as a child, and now Fuller House had a huge impact on me. So I am a big Fuller House fan and I loved Full House. I wish the Olsen twins were a part of this series, but unfortunately they have declined to do so. Because of that, I have decided to create a conspiracy theory about what happened to Michelle Tanner actually is and what actually happened to her. Which is why she is not part of Fuller House. The possible conspiracy theory is that Michelle Tanner is deceased. She died around the same time DJ's husband Tommy Fuller Sr. did. After getting amnesia, she suffered from memory loss. This made Michelle have difficulty remembering things. Michelle later got into drugs and alcohol. During her teenage years, Michelle dreamed of opening a fashion empire. Sadly, Michelle suffered from depression that had Michelle into several psychiatric hospitals. Michelle got released from rehab right after her sister DJ gave birth to her third child Tommy. Michelle Tanner was out late with friends and they were drinking. While one of her friends was driving, Michelle Tanner and her friends got into a serious car accident. Unfortunately, Michelle and her friends did not survive. Michelle Tanner passed away at the age of 28 years old. Her family, including Uncle Jesse, Joey Gladstone, her Aunt Becky, her two sisters Stephanie and DJ Tanner, her nephews Jackson, Max Fuller, and especially her grieving father Danny Tanner had to deal with the tragic loss. It was very hard for DJ, because she recently lost her husband Tommy Fuller Sr. The reason they don't mention Michelle's death is because they are still dealing with the death of Michelle. The reason why her father Danny said to her sister Stephanie she had her fashion empire in New York was because he was honoring her and her lifelong dream. Kimmy, DJ and Stephanie called Michelle's old cell phone number, which was no longer in use, to honor her. The reason why Michelle was mentioned in the Thanksgiving episode in the second season was because her entire family was still grieving over Michelle's death. That's why Uncle Jesse said, "Come, it'll be fun." Meaning he paid her his best wishes. Michelle couldn't see her family while in rehab, so he would write them letters, call them, and even visit her occasionally while in the rehab. Michelle's tragic loss has been hard, especially for Danny the most, losing his wife and now his youngest daughter. Her nephews Max and Jackson never got to know Michelle very well, because she was always in rehab. Jackson and Max only got to meet their Aunt Michelle several times, or on several occasions. Ramona Gibler has only met Michelle once and she barely remembers Michelle. My theory is, the reason why Michelle Tanner is not on Fuller House is because she is deceased and she is buried with her mother, Pam, or another family member. This is one of the reasons why Danny and his wife Terry divorced. Danny still can't get over the loss of his daughter Michelle, which is still difficult for Danny. Ever since Michelle's death, Danny and Jesse have been seeking therapy to cope with the loss of Michelle.